What is up? It's a beautiful Sunday. Just got done taking a walk. Everything smelled great outside. Could smell the flowers. It's nice. It's nice being able to take a walk. Can't take those tiny things for granted. I think it's episode 4. If you haven't heard this before, what I'm doing is just going through the stand-up comics in Austin that I've seen, talking about why I like them, going over a couple of their jokes if I can think of them, and any stories I have to relay about them. Pick 3 comics today. Also, gentlemen who I've seen frequent the parlor. The 3 people I want to talk about today are Mr. Ivan Garcia, Mr. Marc Pena, who I talked about a little bit in the last episode, and of course the formidable Mr. James Garibay. So let's get into it. I hear a siren out there. Somebody might be getting arrested, or there might be a fire. Maybe they're going to put it out. Who knows? So Ivan Garcia, I want to talk a little bit about this gentleman. Possibly at least appears to be the happiest person in the comedy scene. I don't know if he is. Maybe he's got a deep, dark past. And he's just smiling through the pain. I don't know, Ivan, you'll have to let me know. But I've seen Ivan pretty frequently at the parlor. He's always been very friendly to me. I don't know this for sure. I could be wrong. But I think that he may have put in a good word for me. Because I got a set after a open mic that he had hosted, so I attribute some of that to him. If that's the case, I really do appreciate that. Sets are, especially, I haven't been doing it that long, so sets are hard to come by, and I'm very appreciative for any of the sets that I get. So thank you, Ivan. If that was true, if it wasn't true, then he's still a good dude. I had a story that I wanted to talk about with. No, it wasn't a story. If y'all haven't seen Ivan's stand up, make sure to take some time from your respected subculture and go watch his stand up. I really like the dental records joke that he closes most of his sets with. I enjoy that. I think one time. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. There was somebody who did stand up at Halcyon one time when he was hosting, and the guy went up and had kind of this morose vibe with a hoodie on, and then when he got off stage, Ivan went up with his hoodie on and sat on the stool and was like, yeah, here's the next comic, blah blah blah. It was just a really funny way to kind of poke fun at that guy, but anyhow. All right, next comedian, Mark. I think I have to keep these below 15 minutes because I got a warning on the last one. I tried to post from YouTube. So, Marc Pena. I talked about him. He hosted a set that I did at Parlor, where a homeless gentleman was. I don't know if he's homeless. Just a rough gentleman was screaming through most of our jokes. If you want to check that out, it's on the Parlor episode. Mark's funny, man. Mark's got some really unique spins on jokes. 2 of my favorite of his are, he has one that's kind of a longer joke about, I don't know if it's school shootings or just public shootings. It's going to sound weird not describing why it's funny, but I don't know, his perspective on that joke kind of I didn't steal it. Maybe I did steal a little bit of the, I didn't steal it. One of his jokes informed a perspective that I carried into one of my jokes. I think I might have actually even talked to him about it before. If I didn't, message me, Mark. We'll talk about it. I'll tell you how you inspired. That's a better word for it. He inspired one of my jokes. Stealing jokes, that could be a whole episode on its own. I've seen a couple comics that have lifted premises from other comics, but I'm not going to name any names. That's not what this podcast is about. You know who you are. How dare you? But anyhow, Yeah, Mark's really funny. Also kind of happy. Seems pretty happy on the outset. Maybe a tortured soul just like Ivan, I'm not sure. But before I talk about James, one of the things this involves James and Mark, which I thought was really fucking funny. Mark just has a. I love the way Mark talks. He's got a great way of talking. But so James Garibay, if you haven't seen him, of course, you know he's out there. He's out there all the time. Um, he actually offered me a show at, I think, Silver Spoon, maybe. I'm not sure. I had a set at a different place that Mikey Swenson had thankfully got me a set over off, was it Whiskey Tango, I think? So shout out to Mikey Swenson on that, and Chad Fisher, who was hosting that night too. Two cool dudes. I'll definitely talk about those guys at some point. But so we were at Parlor, and I don't think James will be offended if I tell this story, but he had just kind of bombed. He was wearing a shirt that he has a shirt that says "fail often," so I think he's comfortable with bombing. I think, but he walked off stage and he went to the back. And if you've been to the Parlor by the bathrooms, there's always like a couple kegs, and Mark was just leaning on one of the kegs, and James walked up and goes, "Damn, dude, I just bombed." And Mark goes, "Well, why'd you do that?" Oh, it still tickles me to this day. But yeah, James is an interesting fella. He has his style, and he just sticks to it. I will say that there was one time, I think, where he stood on a chair the whole set. I thought that was kind of an interesting choice. And then another time, I think the best thing I ever heard him riff on was there was this girl in the crowd, and she had a fedora on, and he said something along the lines like, "Oh, what's up, Bruno Mars?" And then her and her friends laughed, and then he said, "Oh, is today one of your lazy Sundays?" or something like that. He referenced the Lazy song, which I thought that was kind of a clever in the moment thing to do. So, shout out to James, shout out to Mark, and shout out to Ivan. And shout out to all you listening to this. So I'm going to try to keep these going. Until then, keep practicing your jokes. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stand-up comedy will be back soon. Have a great day.